Hey folks, fWhip here, and welcome to my hardcore world, currently deemed as a forever world, which is true as long as I never die. 3 years and nearly 9,000 days in, and it's going great. And let's be honest, it's just great for YouTube right now. Today, we are completing the plains biome in front of the city of Path, filling it with a full farming community, finishing this biome transformation project by putting in nearly 200 days in-game decorating. So be sure to click the like button, and please subscribe if you're new. To get the full idea of this project, we need to go back to July of 2024, where the region looked like this. After far too many hours spent digging and mining up well over 1 million blocks, I was able to remove the entire mountain to bring it down to near water level, as we are located here right in front of my largest city build to date. So I wanted to tell the story of how we feed the people, meaning I needed to connect a lot of space for farming, so the mountain had to go to be able to create this. Along the edges of the farmland region, though, we have a river going through most of it, connecting into a larger harbor for the city, so I went through the process of building a small fishing village here on the corner, where I really love the result of how all of this came together with the tiny boats at the dock. A lot of the plains are filled with fields already, so we needed people to work them, which led to the creation of this town. Right across the bridge from the city, I have a small town coming together as a source of trade outside of the city and a space for more folks to live and work. And now we are up to here, where about a third of the space is filled in, and the rest here is an open canvas ready to be filled with even more life. In order to create that life, as we are in hardcore survival, I need a ton of blocks, and I've been already working on this mess here behind me. Taking a trip around the world, I stopped in the dwarven village to trade some emeralds with my librarians, using the glass-to-glass plane trick with our cartographers as well. Those emeralds I was able to generate were spent right down here below them with my stonemasons in order to get a ton of brick blocks. Back in the plains biome for a quick moment to stop by this farmhouse, as the basement holds a fern farm, a spot to place down ferns, bone meal them all by hitting a single button, and then harvest in order to duplicate our ferns each time. Tall grass is a little bit easier, as I can jump out to the mesa biome instead and bone meal grass here to harvest it all. Next isn't really on my resource list currently, but I'm sure I will be using some of it as I work today, so since I was nearby, I decided to gather up 2 shulker boxes of mud blocks, as I am constantly running out. Next up here, I want to come down into our watermill by the edge and make a new farm. This is a little bit of a mess, so we're just gonna clean out the space we need right now. I want to make a pale hanging moss farm, so in order to do that, we need to set up 5 dispensers right here, and then over on this side, we're gonna be using observer to look at the, nope, other way, a second one that'll grow. In order for this to work, we need to run a repeater in the back of every dispenser and connect that redstone here into our observer. If something happens in here, all of those trigger. Over here in the foliage market, I have added a small storage area, and yes, we have some pale hanging moss already, so I need 5 of those. We'll figure out a better storage way for this farm here soon. Actually, I can move that up here. For now, it's just gonna be a hopper and a fence gate here for me to stand in. And if I put a water bucket right back here, that'll cause all of the items to flow this way so they can get picked up in the hopper or by myself. 2 stacks of bone meal in each dispenser, and then we take the pale hanging moss and just hang it here in the middle. Make some shears, and I've hooked up a button that's just going to trigger the redstone line, so that causes all of them to grow, and now I simply just need to stand right here and the observer triggers the rest for us. There we go, unlimited pale hanging moss. That's pretty quick. I will take that. The resource list today is well over 10,000 blocks, so I'm not going to be showing you every single thing that I'm gathering here, because, you know, that would be kind of a really long amount of time. But I have been gathering a ton of azalea leaves down here, and I've still got a good amount to go, but we use all of these to border every single one of the fields, like you can see right back there. Trying to fill a second shulker currently, just to have some extras. 2 shulker boxes of azalea leaves and a stack of rooted dirt for us, and that's a pretty good start. I'm just gonna add it here to the end with all of this is our greenery stuff so far. And next, I'm really not looking forward to, but I know from my resource list, I need near 700 spruce trapdoors, so we need to chop a lot of spruce trees. Out in the mega taiga, I have a ton of spruce saplings down in diagonal rows to grow trees next to each other so I can get a mass of spruce logs to chop down at once. Where now I have that, and more importantly, this full shulker box ready, and I'm really hoping that's enough spruce. Back at the base now, here I'm at the lumber mill, as I have a lot of stuff to craft down. I brought 5 shulker boxes over with me, so hopefully I have enough raw materials here in storage and enough space in these boxes to actually store all of it. But I've got probably about an hour of crafting ahead of me. 5 boxes was the right call here, as we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and halfway through the 5th one filled up with all of our wooden materials. Now, thankfully, in the last episode, I spent 500 days in-game mining out a massive river, which means here in stone storage, my chests in this area are completely full of stuff. So I was quickly able to craft down almost all of the things, but as per usual, I still need deep slate and tough, as the river didn't go that deep. So a quick trip down into the mines we go, and I'm gonna do a little branch mining to get the deep slate, and hopefully I come across some tough. Ah, finally, all the way down here. And I lost the beacon buff. Dang it. Right on the edge of it, we get the beacon buff here. I thought I had gotten every single piece of tough in this mine, and right here, a block above where I dug out these strips here, was just full of tough. It's the epitome of that meme of, oh, you should mine the next block, you're gonna strike it rich. I'm headed out to the coral reef right now to pick up some more dead coral for building blocks, but we're right here next to a pale garden that I didn't know existed, and that's actually a great stopping opportunity as the sun is setting. Hopefully we don't have to deal with too many mobs, but I would love a creaking to spawn, as I need a few clumps of resin. Oh, hello, mob. Why do mobs spawn in this biome? They just... Ooh, I also need these. Yes. Figured I had to include the new flowers in our farming region. Hello, any creaking? Want to come out? Nobody's over there. Maybe in this half? Oh, I see. Hi, buddy. Hi. You're so cute. Oh, so you live over there, huh? Wow, that's great. Need a few of these. Thank you. I only think I need a small handful, so we'll go with just 12 here, and that should be fine. Here we go. This is what I was looking for, the coral reef. I just need to pull out a fortune pickaxe this time, as I want all of the dead coral, as I can't help myself. I really love these blocks when texturing with the stone. I just need to craft up a bunch of copper and a few more things, but I was thinking down here in the moss farm, where I believe it still works. I'm honestly not too sure. It has bone meal in it, so that's a good sign, but I want to remove the regular moss block and put in pale moss, turn it on over here, and hopefully this is going to start producing pale moss for us. It does. Oh, yes, that's amazing. Oh no, it's going directly into the bone meal thing because I don't have an item hopper set up for it. Oh, no, we're gonna take that out, and that's just gonna be pale moss now. I lost a good amount of it, didn't I? Bummer. Much better. Now I just need to stay in the area so it doesn't break, and that's not the building I need. I need this one. So I'm probably gonna need a few more stacks of honeycomb. We're going on another shulker here where I'm gonna throw a stack in later, as I need a bunch of trapdoors for copper, so we have to age those down while we're working in the space. And all my copper is up here. Copper has been crafted down. How is the pale moss looking? And that is looking very good. Let's take 6 stacks of it for now. Turn the varm off so it doesn't break. And now for something I'm very... Oh, that's not my face. Very excited about. Stupid horse butt got in my face. Never a phrase I thought I would ever say. That's a weird one. Don't take that out of context. Well, regardless of my cool thing is that Minecraft is updating the recipe for the lodestone. Since that is coming officially to the game, I decided to add it as a data pack for now, meaning I can now craft lodestones with an iron ingot instead of the netherite ingot. Okay, I'm gonna be using them so much more. 2 days IRL later, and we have everything we need for the build so far. I still have more I need to plan out, but that's just a few boxes. And we are going to be starting right down here, as I want to build up another watermill. I've already built one on the south side of this region, so I'd like to make this one match it. To get started, I need to first bring in some mud for the riverbank and build up a small foundation to build our watermill on top of. This project has been going on for a while now, so in order to create a cohesive build style and this entire place looks good together, we do have to repeat a few elements here and there. So this watermill is pretty much the same texture palette as the original one, with just some slight variations on the scale of the entire thing. I have also added this little birch tree out in the front to kind of like grow up on top of the house, and I think it's just kind of a fun vibe to add in if you got to go around it to get down here into the very full and detailed mill on the inside. But I copied the same water wheel design that we had previously, just this one's not on an angle, and they've got some clothes up here to dry, and then a little bridge, which I don't really know what to do over here. I'm kind of thinking fruit trees, but for now I'm just gonna leave it blank, as my goal currently is to work back up this road over to our main road, where you can see I've already been doing a little little bit of stuff, as I would like to build a dyer's workshop. Well, house here. So we're gonna have a colorful garden of stuff over here, and then the house in this point, where I'm really loving working with these darker gray blocks, as we have all of these new ones with the pale blocks coming in too that are just so fun. So we can do a little bit like this, and then from our tuff, we can actually add in the pale moss block, which is a cool, just another variation we have access to. Throw a little scaffolding in for the windows here, and then for the front door frame, I want to do a little copper trim, but I need these guys to age down another. And then because they're new, pretty much the only reason for it, I want to include some pale oak for the door. And these we're gonna flip up so that the handle is hidden and it doesn't look obvious. Yeah, I like that. I've added a little extension over here with our pale oak that I want to wrap with some spruce to tone it down just slightly on this. I don't know. I think it looks a little bit better like that. The rest of the walls are in. I added a little acacia for a darker shadow, and then I was missing one of those, so we can throw it in here. And then over on this side, I've got something really fun. We can start with our carpets, as I want to build a dog kennel of sorts. So we're gonna bring this up by 3 blocks and just extend it around, working a few oak trapdoors in here too. And then I just want to top it off with spruce going across, so the doggos can have some nice windows, and they got a good little bed in there. Oh, it's gonna be great. We just need to bring a dog over. We'll deal with that a little bit later. As for now, I would like to focus on the roof, where we're gonna be using a lot of our tuff. We're gonna have some deep slate bricks, and I'm missing a block there. Let's just throw in a pale moss. But we're going to be working our stone brick variations, going from deep slate to tough into regular stone brick, and then I'm going to level this off with some slabs and a full block going down the middle. We have a little back deck on here now with some campfires to keep us out of the sun, and the house is honestly looking super cool. To finish off this one, I built another larger birch tree and filled out the garden space with a lot of colorful plants. It is very cool seeing the space develop back there, but I need to make a quick trip all the way back to world spawn on this far side of the mountain. I'd like to make a quick stop here at the Sniffer Ranch, grab a few torch flower seeds. I've done a lot of additional greenery work over here, adding in a ton of grass and ferns and bone mealing them up. And even at the middle of our pond right in here, you can see I added some soul sand to the bottom to make it give that mystical, magical feel, as if there's like a geyser somehow pushing all of the water up here, which explains how there's like this constant stream flowing down into the river. But I am very happy with how this space turned out, and I even tried using the resin clumps here to look like fruit growing on the side of our mangrove leaves, and I like it a lot. But the reason for the torch flower seeds is I would like to come over here and turn this into a small field for our torch flowers to grow in. We're going to be doing quite a lot of field work today. This is mostly a decorative one here, so I don't need to completely fill out the space. So we're just going to do a few diagonal rows here, skipping one over each time. I'm like 5 shy. We're just going to ignore those. They're just never going to exist. We're staying like this. Continuing down the road though, I want to throw in a small apiary right here, so I need to pull these guys off to get them out of the way. They've kind of been in the area since Halloween, and they're just going to go in the middle of the road for now. Ow. Oh, he stole my lead. A few little things that we can call out in here as we're working around is I'm adding in these little points as, oh, hey, buddy. I've already checked him. He didn't really have anything, but I'm adding these in as our apiaries for some bees to live inside. And then just for honestly spawn proofing sake and more detail, we're going to top them off there with some trapdoors, composter, maybe somebody's working around here. And then I added some campfires and an oak log as if they need to light a fire to mend and deal with the bees. And then a place where they can kind of strip the logs as they need. And right over here, we can create a little workstation right there with a bit of a table, and that way for a little cubby, and then a flower pot if they ever need to do anything. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And then I also brought in our pathway over here. Another thing to call out is for the step up, to make it look like they really reinforced it as somewhere where they're working often, they maybe brought some stones in. So I added those in here just for a fun little detail to break it up and get some color differential. Differentiation. That's the word. I'm going crazy. I've been building a lot today. But we also have this pathway coming back through here that's going to connect into the farmhouse and little stables and everything. They'll sit in this area, which will be super exciting. And we need to actually detail this whole section with a lot more greenery things. Yeah. Added in a little allium field over here, which I really like. And we've got a bunch of flowers around, and I do want to bring some bees in. That's probably going to be something I do on a stream in the future. As for now, I have more building that needs to be done to finish off a road over here. Kind of taking a tangent off to the side, but right over here, here, I would like to build a goat ranch. The ranch house itself is sticking in the similar themes we've done so far, but this time with a lighter mossy stone brick roof and a big mud brick chimney with smoke coming out the top. And here we have the pasture for our goats. And okay, I got a little carried away. We also have a small produce stand here along the main road that I love. We've got a living coral block with a waterlogged mossy cobblestone slab underneath it. And oh, this whole little tiny street, it's a little tight in here for carts to be able to get to the watermill, but oh my gosh, the vibes are so good. Now up this way, I believe we have a few goats, as this also used to be a mountain before I turned it into this mossy mess. And yes, there's a goat right there. We've got a second goat, and looks like we got 4. Perfect. Okay. Do any of you scream? That would be very cool to have a screaming goat, but I don't think so. Okay, we can start our herd here with 4 goats. I think I grabbed all of them. Come on, goats, it's time to go to greener pastures. Okay, it might not be the most green of pastures, but come on in. As goats unfortunately leap all over the place and are really hard to keep contained, we are gonna be tying them with leads to fence posts, and we're gonna have 2 of you set up here. The other 2... Oh my god, okay, wow, you can really jump. We're gonna put you 2 right over here. Let's breed them up and hopefully get a screaming goat. Oh my god, it's so cute. The little guy can hang out right back here. And they've got a friend. Okay, I'm gonna keep coming back and breeding goats as I go, but I need more leads, as those were the last I had in my supplies. Before we keep detailing the middle of the region over here, I want to take the time to establish the edge, which is going to require chopping down a few more trees. There we go. That is a good amount of space, and I think I got all the logs. Yes, I do want to eventually transform the forest back there, but we're not doing that today. No. This is a big enough project already. Let's start on the wall over here on the road, where I want to build up an archway. We're going to be making this mostly out of brick to match a bit into the wall that we have for the city, almost like it's a much older crumbled down version. As we work our way up, instead of going into the brown tones that we're using on the wall, I want to go into some gray here because I want to introduce our pale moss blocks on top. And then we're also going to be working in a bit of mossy cobblestone, which is going to help us mob proof this area out just a little bit more. Now in this area here as well, I do want to incorporate some of our lodestones that we built. So one's going to go right there, and we can make this side look even more crumbled and probably put it about there. Yeah, that evens it out. Added a little bit more to the archway here, and it's looking pretty good, but I want to add in a tiny bit of our pale hanging moss, and I missed in here too, which we can just fill with some mud bricks. Yeah, that works. And then more importantly, the reason why I'm using all of this pale moss on top is we can have a gray block that we can put grass on top of to make it look like it's just grass that's somehow growing in the cracks of this old ruined wall. This is an extremely old build in the world, something lost to the times, and stones have been taken away to be used elsewhere, and over time it's also become overgrown with moss and bushes. Underneath the forest canopy here, I have added a ton of grass and just little bushes and things, and it's looking really good now. Even on the other side, the rock back here has been textured with more grass growing out the top of it, also just really old. And then I'm working on a little outcropping here to look out over the biome and our fields of copper trapdoors that are aging. But this forest here has me thinking, what if I were to add in a ton more custom trees to this back section to hide the wall under the trees to show even more age? With this big old tree out here, I think we need a lantern hanging under, as it was getting pretty dark and they need a little light, obviously. But this looks so good up here. Eventually we'll get a lot more larger custom trees behind that direction too, but I like the variation we have in the canopy. It very much flows along. And I know it's hard to see in the time lapse, but I did add a few more back here along the road too. I'm not sure what I want to do on this side yet. Kind of thinking like a charcoal kiln station down there. Just something purely decorative, you know. No function here. This is all decoration. But we'll get to that later if we want to. I do love this little opening right here. I left on purpose to be able to actually see into the farmland region, and it's so good. And I did add these in since I had some extra azalea leaves. They'll just be borders for some new fields, and we're gonna work on something down there. But for now, I want to change attention to focusing back on the middle. Why? Well, because it's the closest to being finished. Okay. Right, they can stay in that little pit they fell in. Oh, fun note here. We're on day 8,909. Yeah, we passed 8,900 days. Woohoo! Moving on, I decided to spend some time working on the central farmstead and built up the farmhouse out of darker gray colors, this time working in pale oak logs with a deep slate on the side for a shadow. And then I finally went around to pick up some of those trapdoors that I had left to age in the farmland so that we can create a horse stable here at the farmstead alongside a pig pen right next to it to show more of an animal presence in the area. I took a quick trip out to track down some piggies to bring back home, and I was able to find 3, which is actually just perfect for the pen, so they can now call this their home for forever. I'm in that big grind phase currently where it took about 30 minutes to fill out the foliage around the big middle rock that we have, then to fill in another one of the fields around here. Not the field today, but I spent some time planting in a new beetroot field, which required removing the moss, putting dirt down, and then turning that into farmland for the crops to go on top of. Finishing off the animal pen area, I brought a horse over from the ranch to add into the small stable that I had built earlier as well, and this whole place is really starting to come together. Down the road, I also built a new patch of trees and filled in the foliage underneath around the creek to just make it super lush feeling. Slowing down to take a quick walk through this area, it is looking really good over here, and it feels great to have it filled out with our cart. We even have a little rose garden and some small bushes back over here, and it's so good. The grass and all of the flowers around everywhere takes so long to do by hand, but man, there is such a big difference compared to just spamming bone meal and calling it good. Oh, I'm so happy with this. This whole little farmstead here in the middle just is such a fun place. I am now realizing, however, that I never put any dogs in the kennel over there. So let's fix that. Out here at the dog brewery, right across the sunflower field, we can breed up Booby and Spooby here. Get the most adorable little puppy ever. And then side here we have Bubbies and we have Stinky. Okay, you 2 little pups are coming with me. These 2 little pups are just gonna be hanging out over here in front as they're free to roam around. We don't need to lock them inside. Oh no, you're a little close to that wall. Don't suffocate, please. Okay. Look, oh, so cute. Now, next, I want to transition to filling out this corner space over here, which I have a really cool idea for. But first, I think I need to fill this field in. And I think I want to do it as a wheat field. Yep. I am pretty happy I took the time to do that down here. This is going to look really good once it's all grown in, especially with what I got planned back there. This is going to be a very ancient part of the world with some ruins and a very old tree, but to get started, I need a pathway. And at the end of the left fork in the road, I want to build a shrine where we're going to have a little pool of water here, really overgrown with our mossy stuff. Mossy stone brick in there, and then tough brick there, and then we're going to put a tube coral that's going to dry itself out. Build a pool here with a little bit of water inside of it. And then I want to create a big archway surrounding it that's going to have a solid back to it. But to make it a little bit more unique, we're going to bring out our tough walls and our mossy cobble walls, just so it's not the full block thickness. And then we're just going back into the mix here of our mossy cobblestone and tough bricks because I just think they make a really good combo. And then for the corner, just again, for more detail, we're throwing in little warp signs to pop it out a touch. And then the top of these will be right here. I've got the top archway and now top with some candles and a button just to spawn proof it. And then right here to fill in the rest of the corners, we'll just throw in some polished tuff. And that is looking really cool. Here in the front, I do want some vines to grow. So we're just going to put them right there. The glow liken's going to stop it growing that way. The pressure plate here is going to stop it growing this way. And then we'll put a little glow lichen over here for some extra, glowy bits around the shrine. Added some more stones coming out the sides here. And I think that's pretty cool, but I want to bring in some more candles for little tiny ones, and I just got to greenify it. The vine already grew. Yay. There we go. A little bit more foliage added around to make it look really overgrown here, and I'm pretty happy with it. Along the back of the walls, if I can walk up here on the rock, I added in some glass panes that you can see added this extra little detail where now instead of being flat like those above there, they have this extra lip in front of them, which I just think is a cool addition to it. Another cool addition in the area that is very Elden Ring inspired, I am adding in the ruins of some ancient chapel of sorts. So lost to the time, it's barely even walls standing up and completely overgrown thanks to the new pale moss. I feel like I'm doing time-lapse, show stuff, time-lapse, show stuff, but I just want to add so many new builds into this region today, so I hope you're enjoying it. And oof, I planned these ruins out almost like 2 months ago before I started digging the river, and it feels so good to finally have them added into the world here. One more element to add onto the corner here, and my inventory can probably give you a good idea of what that is and this open space here. The last element on the bluff is this massive oak tree coming in through yet another time lapse. Woo! With the thick canopy blocking the light down here, the atmosphere we're creating is really cool. And I was thinking to add to that, like we have a spore blossom over there, we can throw one right up here too. We already have falling leaves in Minecraft now, but the particles floating sideways is just so cool too. And then I was also thinking right back here, I realized there's a single block to let some light through. So what if we just add a little patch of flowers here that are growing in the light? It's just a fun little detail. Oh, speaking of detail, I never did anything back here. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do this now just to get it finished. I don't think I even mentioned, but I added this little station over here, just like a work yard somebody has. And then we have a little garden right over here with a tiny little shrine too. And let's just throw those there. Yeah, that's fine. But now almost everything touching this road that leads out to the little farmstead out there is detailed. It's looking so good. We already have a weird little staircase coming down here, so we're just gonna work with that for now and block this dirt with a pot or a jungle sapling in there with the leaf on top, almost as if it's like a railing to block you from falling off. I think I want to turn all this into dirt, so we'll get that in soon, but for now we can at least like throw some of this in here. Table thingy for bees, I guess. Whenever I'm putting bee stuff anywhere, I like to throw in a campfire or just some pile of wood there so you can like create smoke to be able to work with the bees. And then I was thinking for this section here, we could have a little garden. So let's go right in here. Water source can go right in here. And then to hide that, we'll just throw some barrels on top again. And then from here, let's just create a little patch of farmland. Maybe this can be for some beetroot, and then we can stretch ourselves that far. So let's go for some carrots here, which can have a little railing going around it using our spruce trapdoors. I've got the dirt in throughout here and coarse dirt bordering the sides, so this grass shouldn't be able to grow in. And I got candles there, and a small little table over here now to sit at. Ooh, and a free grass block for me. Oh boy, but this is looking really good. And I came down through here and just added in a few more of the pale oak leaves and just did some grass and ferns and a little start of stuff over here. I just don't really know what I want to do with it yet. Probably more of that. I just don't want to right now. I was putting more stuff back and organizing the shulker boxes a little bit, and I completely forgot. I built this a little while ago, and I don't think I've showed it yet, of this wagon that just fell off the road and was kind of abandoned here, and all the bushes are growing up around it. But I'm going through and just picking out the empty shulker boxes I have and seeing what I can combine around here just to save some space. And this way I can stop sorting through so many boxes to find the one thing that I need. And it's kind of nice to see that we have cleared out 9 different shulker boxes so far, completely empty of materials, and a lot of these are like half empty now too, which is kind of fun. And make that 10. Let's empty a bit more of that shulker mess to start cleaning this up even a small amount by building another farmhouse here right outside of town, next to the storage building and grain silos to continue along the bend of the road. This one is very similar to the house that we just built in the middle, using some of the pale blocks as they're new, and well, I just wanted to use them. And I gotta say, this is, oh, I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't say anything else. I'm very happy with how this is all coming together. That build is definitely pretty dark and contrasty compared to what we have right next to it with all of the, the jungle and the spruce and everything. And then we have just stone building, but I think that's okay. I think it works out well here. And in the time that I was working on this, I've actually figured out what I want to do back here. We'll tackle it a little bit later as I want to plan it out a touch more before I actually build it in the hardcore world here. But I'm thinking amphitheater down here and some like public community garden space up here could be really cool as a gathering point for the town. I did also clean up the shulkers that were out in the field over there, so they've been relocated here to, yes, we have even more of a mess in front of us. But hey, I took the empty ones back, so there's only one empty one now. And nearly every single one of the trapdoors that I threw down here in the fields temporarily has aged down, so we can gather up our plentiful harvest of copper trapdoors, minus those 3. There we go, a stack and 24 oxidized copper trapdoors. Oh no, this one aged down too. 25. Come on, you 3. Anybody? No? Okay, that's fine. We'll use those at some point, I'm sure. You know what? It's time. It's time to plant a field. Yep, that's right. Definitely the first field of today's episode, so we can treat this like it's the first time you're watching one of my videos too, I'm sure. So be sure to click the like button down below. The cool whippersnappers do it, and you even get a cool little thumbs up animation. Ooh, so fun. And click the subscribe button while you're at it to help me out with my goal of reaching 2 million subscribers. And here we have the definite first wheat field of today's episode. But wait, there's more. Subscribe now for a bonus 4 fields for the price of 1 fWhip asks you to subscribe. Be sure to get in on this deal while it's fresh, just like all of these new fields. Okay, maybe this field isn't the freshest, but hey, it looks pretty cool as part of like a crop rotation thing going on. Pretty cool, huh? This is what you call the fallow field. Overall, though, it is absolutely spectacular seeing all of these in here. Oh, it just looks so good. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. One day, we'll be able to get rid of the rest of these boxes. So let's start by digging out the river on the east side of this area, as I had only put it 1 block below water levels, so it wasn't too great for a boat to get through. And then I flooded it on top. So we need to fix that now, since we've already done all the really big river work, so I feel like I gotta complete the rest of the river work. Then grabbing a water bottle again, I converted all of the dirt to mud and put a little bit of seagrass in using bone meal. Now we can empty some of our shulker boxes of stuff, as right along the wheat fields we just planted in, I am adding in another small farmhouse. This one is made out of spruce primarily, and then some mangrove for a red pop on the second floor, which I like the little variation it adds. And then right across the road from it, I built out a small malt house, which is something I saw on Manor Lords and got inspired by it for just another little detail to throw in here. For our next build, I've built this grain silo a few times over already in this region. So I want to add another one of those in here on the far side to be consistent, with a small chicken coop right next to it that still needs some chickens in it, as first I need to build up this house where I have the foundation in already. In this one, I want to use mangrove for a darker texture. Then we're gonna have birch and a little bit of our oak in here, and this is just gonna come up to be, nope, a mangrove right there, but it's just gonna be about this tall, I think, with a like maybe a step back on it. Leave a little window in there, maybe a ladder at the top, and for the windows, let's go with scaffolding, and we'll throw our campfire in right there. Perfect. I carried those ideas around on the base and threw this mud brick granite jungle oak kind of messy roof on top of it here, and I think it's looking pretty good. On the inside, we could just slap a spruce door right over there, and then for this, a little bit of lighting here on the front, we just do something like that. And then it's a little flat on the corner here, so I want to bring composters in. Yeah, doesn't need to be a massive pathway down here. It's kind of just to the granary, and then this where I need to get some chickens in. Whoa, what's going on? Is there a new like glitch? Why can I see into the world? Oh no, that's weird. Quick trip all the way back home here, where I should still have some eggs in the farm here from all the chickens. Yeah, we've got plenty. We'll see how many we can get out of that. And seeing the new region loading in with all these new fields, oh, it's looking so good. This has been so much work, but it's finally paying off. And chickens. Ooh, oh, 5 chickens. How many chickens? Oh, we have an escape. He just got into the house. I guess I'm just gonna do that right there. It's gonna kind of finish that across. That's how they're gonna stay inside. Where'd this dude go? Completely lost him. This chicken just Houdini'd out of here. He's gone. Maybe we can get a few that are gonna spawn up in here. There's 3. I think they'll, as babies, they can get out. If I close that till they're adults and then reopen it, they'll stay. And the rest of the eggs can go in there. I have one more kind of more wacky building I want to throw up in there, but I think for now I'd like to refocus going this direction, as I still have a lot more farmhouses to add in. And well, right over here, I kind of want to add like a community storage building similar to the one that we have right over there, just a different vibe. I want to use some pale oak for this, so let's grab our planks and strip logs, then some tough bricks, tough mossy cobble, and hopefully I only need 1 cobblestone, and we can grab some deep slate, then probably a good amount of spruce to throw in. Starting with the front archway, I decided this will be a bit of a barn, half for storage and half for an animal to stay inside of. Then the pale oak will be used on the second floor of the building, as I wanted a little change of color before slapping on a brown roof and putting a big pile of hay on the left side. Where I am about halfway back from the donkey ranch right now, so I thought one of these guys could be kind of fun to include, and he is a pretty quick one. Still working on that fastest donkey, but we are getting close. Right past the donkey way station. Here we are. I think I can maybe, let's see if I do that. Yeah, you can just phase right through it. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna have to build a well somewhere here in the middle because we keep having to walk down to the lake. But I thought he could have some water in it. It'd be pretty nice. But you know, that water over there, so far away. Maybe a nice little well up here somewhere could be good. I've also been working over here, and I love the chicken coop over there so much that I built another one right here, and I need to go get some eggs to throw them in. And thankfully, I left them over here. Ow. Ow. I tried being so cool. Didn't work. Note to self, stop trying to be cool. Okay, we'll wait for those two little guys to grow up, and then we've got like 4 around in here, and we'll throw these extra little eggs. Why not? And no extras. Okay, that's fine. I did block it off back there so they can't escape into the wheat field. Those ones should be trapped. There's the chicken that escaped. Go back in. Yes. Sucker, you're stuck in there now. Oh, and we can open this because they've grown up and they can't squeeze out underneath the trapdoor. Love it. And free eggs. Oh, they can walk out. Just kidding. I was totally wrong on that. Well, the more you know. The chicken coop isn't going to be just alone over there, so I decided to build a weaver's hut to fill in along the road. Now equipped with a few trees along the side of it and some foliage. But more importantly, I copied one of the boats from the little fishing harbor and brought it down in here at the bottom of this dock that I built out, and I think it just looks so good over here. We just needed something along the edge outside of the foliage I'm gonna add in. Trying to break up the spam of green, you know. Then to finish off the weaver's hut for now, they need something to weave, bringing in a new pen, which is going to be filled with a few gray sheepies right here. They've got a little grass now mixed in with the moss, so hopefully that's enough to keep them fed and they don't just turn it all into dirt. I've added 2 more fields over here that we'll need to plant soon, as I've outlined them with our azalea bushes. And before I get into that, I want to start working my way down here with a pathway that's going to reach all the way down to the water. I've got the whole palette figured out already thanks to everything else we've been doing here, so I'm really into the phase of this project where it's just a lot of rinse and repeat in slightly different ways. I'm having a great time seeing everything in here coming together, but man, I am kind of itching to be able to do something new here soon. I got to get through the last bit of the grind and then we'll be smooth sailing. Speaking of which, I wish I could say the smooth sailing pun was on purpose, but we now have another little dock over here, and I think we'll do another one of those mangrove boats on this side, since we did expand the river over there that I think a little boat could slide through. Yep, adding the boat in here was the right call. Especially up from my little viewpoint at the top of the hill. That is so cool sitting right down in there. Ooh, I'm really happy. Let's shift gears a little bit before I get too distracted over there, as I just remembered that I never finished off this corner, so let's work on that. I want to build a gatherer's hut out here. Someone who goes out in the forest to forage and has a bit more of a chaotic garden out front of the house. To make it more unique, I made the house circular and very earthy, so it kind of blends into the trees a little bit, as I want it to be more of a background detail. This is turning into a project that I probably should have split into 2 videos, but I'm so far in now that I just want to see it through. Here in the front though, I added the doors and a little bit of a floor with a fireplace in the bottom and a back door out here to where somebody can go and forage in a future forest transformation that I'm going to be working on. But out front, we have this lovely little garden with some carrots growing, some crimson roots over here, and just some flowers. Overall though, I am pretty happy with how this ends off the roadway. That's just such a good view right down here. What do you think, zombies? Can I have that lead back? No, but I think that's a pretty good look down there. No, you guys looking out that way? Yeah, it's a pretty good view too. Pretty good view. I think they like it. I want to finish up the corner along the road, but I'm running out a lot of my decor blocks, so I made a quick trip into the trading hall to buy more bricks and made some pots. My tough and deep slate have been running low as well, so I jumped into a nearby cave to gather a few stacks of those to keep with me for more building. Then to restock for more foliage stuff, I spent some time harvesting ferns in the farmhouse before jumping out to the mesa yet again to harvest even more grass, where it's time for go mode again as I build up the final farmhouse along this road and added in a few more custom trees. Then went to work tilling the fields and planting 2 more massive fields of wheat. Gosh, this makes me happy to see everything built out, especially the wandering trader in the hot tub. That just makes it. I couldn't have envisioned it in a better way. And of course, no small drip leaf. But this little place is looking so cute down here, and I spent some more time falling into the water, bringing in a lot more of our foliage along the water edge over here, just because this kind of little tiny corner pocket here could be easily filled in all the way up to fill the space completely. So I was like, yeah, we'll get it done. We have managed to do so much today with this part of the world. The farmland region is really coming true from what was literally a cold, barren mountain beforehand. Now looks like an extremely lush farming community outside of the city walls that is just so fun to be able to wander around already. Before we wrap this up, I have 2 remaining areas that need to be completed. The first being this grassy area here outside of the town. The second being the market inside of the town itself, where I do already have a produce stand set up over here in the corner from when we built up the town, and I have an inventory full of shulkers to finish off the build. So next we have a cheese stand on the far corner of the market. Then rounding it off, I of course had to include a small succulent and plant stand where we've got a new animal cart with sheep and chickens for sale right in the middle. Of course, guarded by a good doggo here who's new to the job, and we have a horse to be able to pull the cart, where I'm gonna take that saddleback. And of course, around the back, we have a few eggs for sale. I really think the daylight sensor works great as like a 9-pack of eggs, which could be purchased by the tavern to serve guests in their new outdoor seating area. And finally, rounding off the outside of the market, we have a bookseller right over here, and we have a candle shop right here in front of these 2 homes. Now, I still have a space open here that I want to make sure is accessible by horse to go on through, but I have a really fun idea in mind. As here, I want to build an overgrown traveling merchant's cart that stopped in the middle for the day. Walking into town, I also added a little greenery over here and right over there with a kind of hitching post or for a place for some horses to get a drink out of a water trough. And then I couldn't think of anything better for our wandering overgrown merchant cart than it to be pulled by a sniffer. So I'm waiting for this dude to hatch right now, and I'll just put him on a lead right here against the fence. And oh, it's so good. We got a little ramp to get up inside here and just all of the goodies. And I even managed to find a beehive that has a bee in it. So we'll see him floating around here. There's flowers on top too, so the bee should stay nearby. Now, I haven't tried this yet, but I feel like it should be pretty horseable to get through here, especially once the sniffer's gone. We could just swoop around that way and off, and that's pretty good. I feel like that's gonna be definitely worthwhile. Oh, our puppy grew up, and all of the chickens grew up. Oh, they really like that corner. Okay. I wanted to include all of the mobs over here just to get more of the ambient sounds of them just kind of walking around, making the little barking sounds, the chickens clucking, the sheep's baaing, just a little bit that we can do here and there to make this world feel even more alive. And maybe should we bring villagers in? I'm not sure. I'll come back and hopefully find a sniffer here and it doesn't disappear into nothingness. But our next stop is we need to move around the corner down here as I want to develop this region in the back. To get started, we need a community gathering point. So I'm digging down into the ground to build up a small amphitheater for community meetings, festivals, and just a place to hang. This is a very open spot, so it doesn't look like it's currently in use, but I like the idea of it being here as it implies the community has a social aspect to them. Now, this here is something that I've never thought about building before, but I absolutely love it. All the people could sit up here and they could watch whatever's going on down there, whoever's presenting. And then I did come up here behind and start putting some coarse dirt down and getting rid of a lot of the grass, as this is going to be turning into a community garden. To get started, I think they're going to need some wells for easy access to get water, and I thought my classic little design right here could fit, with a second down here, but I don't think I'm going to put the top on this one. Then along this edge right over here, we have a lot of raised terraces that I want to just turn into some farmland and put in a few different crops. Yeah, something like this along the pathway will be really cute. I also added in this area over here to be like a compost bin of sorts. So we have mycelium down, we have a little pods, little mushrooms growing on it, and at the end I'm gonna bring a few things in here and fill these with some compost stuff. But for now, right behind that, I want to start another section right over here where we can use some campfires, extinguish them, and it can look like a little shelf of sorts. And then right behind that, we can build up a little cover of sorts. And I think I heard a wandering trader back here. I did. Hey buddy, you got Nah, no small drip leaf. Okay, goodbye. Added in some wheat seeds over here, a few raised flower beds right here with some stuff growing in, some berry bushes right over here, and tulips, bringing up this whole corner with a little bit of a hedge kind of guarding our walkway to separate off all the different little plots, and I love it. I was thinking right over here on this one that I'm working on, we can also try something new. I've been looking at inspiration online for community gardens of IRL communities, and I've found so many cool things like random little archways leading into people's private plots. So I thought we'd include something right here with some vines growing, because those won't be able to go anywhere. It's just like a nice little trellis of sorts. So they have some carrots in here and just some bushes around the back. The garden area over here is really starting to come together, and I'm super happy with it. And if I could just, nope, that's not supposed to be on top of the sunflower. I've been working on making a few taller things like this trellis right here, just to add more interest than just plants growing on the ground. So I was thinking we bring in some glow berries right throughout here just to be hanging down, shear them so they can't grow anymore, and we might as well bone meal them. Yeah, that could be fun. I added a big rose garden back in over here, and I have this one over here too, where I'm hanging some like wind chimes from it, is kind of the idea that I'm going for. Not too sure what I want to do back in this little work yard yet, but it's not really the garden, so I'm leaving it for now. But we have a little bee, we got some pitcher pods growing up here, torch flowers, small little overgrown workstation, and it's just so cute in here. Now, I love our little community garden here, but I feel like it needs a more grand entrance coming in. So I was thinking right along here, let me see, can I place a birch sign in? I get that thing off of it, we'll break this. The sign stays floating and keeps the bar on top of it, which I love. And then we can just finish a little arch going around it. Yeah, I need like a good slogan here for this sign. So if you have any ideas, let me know. As we're walking into the garden, we need something special, or even a name for the community garden. Okay, I normally don't play with shaders, but I want to see it. Okay, yeah, this is looking really special out here. Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, I buried the wandering trader. He's down there. Look at the garden. That's beautiful. Our sniffer is all grown up now and leading the cart, but I have a confession to make. I thought I lost the sniffer, so I got a second sniffer egg, and then I just found him. He's stuck in here. This is the original sniffer. He wandered off and he can't get out the door, so I guess he lives in this house for now. What should I do with the second sniffer? I don't need two of them here. And yes, I did wait around for the 10 minutes for that thing to hatch so I could just instantly hook it to the cart so I didn't lose another. Beyond that though, I realized there's one part of this entire biome that I forgot to detail. Not this area up here, as I have a build I want to do over in this part, and I'm not too sure how much space it's going to take up, so I'm intentionally leaving this blank for now. But I did forget to detail the entire space underneath these trees over here. Going with the same detail style for foliage around the rest of the biome, I added in all of the good lush bushes and grass to fill in the space. And I realized I forgot to add the greenery along the river here behind our weaver's house, so I threw that all in, but something pretty fun happened during the time lapse. Hey, guess what that sun going down behind me means? I can finally make the joke. My day count, it's over 9,000! Okay, back to planting grass. Anyways, it is pretty tight throughout here, so I think we're gonna have to push this hillside back a little bit eventually, but it is so cool being able to come in here and see. I never detailed that rock. That's fine. But all of the foliage along that entire edge of the river, lake, whatever the heck this thing is filled in. Oh, it looks so good. We'll hide our Minecraft boat here right behind the actual boat. As with that, my friends, it's time to call this project completed for now. I have absolutely loved working through the transformation of this mountain biome into this beautiful farming community right outside of the city. It has made me love this region of the world so absolutely much, and I really hope you've enjoyed the transformation process of this whole thing going on 6, almost 7 months now working on it, and it's I'll clean up the shulkers, don't worry, I'll clean those up. But it's been such a fun project to do, and I really just love how it's completely changed this side of the world. It's completely redone the way that we move around in it with our new roads, and no longer needing to go around the mountain, we can go right through the region, and it's just so special. But with that, my friends, please be sure to click that like button down below if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're brand new, and I just realized the last 3 videos have been over 1,000 days in game now, so I think next one's gonna be toning it back slightly. But thank you all so very much for the support, my friends. And on that, there's a goat on my roof. There's a goat on the roof of the house, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Look at that goat. That's a majestic goat right there.